Hello and welcome back to my garage. Today's patient, a Volvo V50. It has quite some problems, but I do think it is an easy fix. Let me explain. The owner of this car went on a vacation with his family, and about halfway there they encountered some technical problems. The car spewed some error codes into the dash. The exact codes I don't know anymore, but they had some error codes. And when that happened, closely after that, the car went dead. It didn't do anything. So they luckily were able to pull the car safely on the side of the road and, shut down the car. Well, the car was already shut down, but of course they shut down the car. I don't know exactly what they did then, but after a while they tried to start the car again and it was all fine, no problems anymore. So because the car was starting again, they just continued the journey and they didn't have any problems anymore. But of course you can do two things. One thing, just it was a one-time thing, or second thing is we try to find why it causes that problem. What we're trying to do is, of course, fix this issue. So what kind of information do we have now about our problem? One, a lot of different error codes on the dashboard. And the second of all is, of course, the stalling of the car itself. And after it cools down, it just runs again. So I really thought it is an electrical issue. So maybe some bad sensors, bad connections, something like that. So how do I diagnose this problem further? Well, first thing of all, put in the computer and let's read some codes. And as you can see, the car is spewing a lot of different kind of codes. And not only in the engine management systems, but also in the ABS, in aircon. Almost every module has error codes. And that of course is quite alarming. But if you press a little bit further, what kind of error codes they are, they're all connected to the ECM. A lot of sensors are, shouting, we don't have any connection anymore to the computer. So why do I think it is probably an electrical connection? Well, if a connection is getting corroded, what happens is you get resistance on that, and resistance is creating heat. So stuff, of course, will expand when heated. So what probably has happened is they took a long drive, stuff get hot, a connector is getting, or pins are getting warm, expand, and probably lost connection. And it also explains why after a short while they just could start the car again and go on with the trip, because stuff cools down and probably gets its connection back. Of course, it's speculation, we don't know for sure, but it is really promising that it is a known issue and a lot of people have solved that issue with just cleaning the connectors of the ECU and of your fuse box. Changing your fuses also helps. So that is what we're going to do. And of course, the first thing you want to do is remove the battery terminal. If you hear a fan noise, well, that is because of the light. There is a fan inside. But here we have that unit, and as you can see, there are two connectors right here, one here, and I do believe there is also two on the top. What I heard is that you first want to remove the top connectors before you want to do the bottom connectors. But other than that, it's just these things, like so. as you can see, they are quite easy to remove. Sorry about the bumping and stuff, but the room isn't very spacious right here. Do I already see some corroded pins? How does this work? Well, I do see some corrosion. So what I'm now going to do is spray some contact cleaner into these pins or connections. It has a bit of a funny smell, but I will remove the camera because I cannot get to all of them. And what I'm then going to do is just with a nylon brush that paintbrush, because I'm cheap and I just cut off the length so it's nice and stiff now. And I'm just going to work that stuff in the pins. So, but I will remove the camera because I don't want to, well, get all this stuff on there. And also I cannot get to it very well. So, be right back. Hopefully you can see that there is a little bit of white stuff on some of the pins. Is it really bad corroded? Nah, definitely not. There is some corrosion. So some corrosion or a little bit corrosion can be just enough to get you all kinds of problems. So what we're going to do is the same thing here. We're just going to clean out those contacts. So now it has been sitting for a while. So just remove the excess of the plugs. I did clean up the relays and also replace some of the fuses, because these were pretty corroded and also quite stuck in its place. So yeah, that didn't look very good, so I did replace them. I rather had replaced them all, but I didn't have these small fuses on hand, so maybe I will do that in the future, just to be sure. But I did clean them up as good as I can. Well, I definitely need to get you guys out of here. Also in the bottom, all the connectors are back in its place. You don't have to worry about which goes where. You can just put them into one spot. So that's a nice thing. So now we have one thing done. And of course now we're going to clean up the ECU, just to be sure. Luckily for us, in this case, Volvo didn't put the ECU on a terrible spot. On some cars they do put it into the wheel well, so behind that liner. And that is of course a hazardous place to put, well, some electronica. There are instances that they have them on the other side of the car in some kind of box. But those also have prone to corrosion, and the reason why is not it is a bad design, but if people want to change the light bulb, there isn't a lot of room in modern cars anymore. So what people do is remove that lid. What people do of course is well, put the lid back, but not the way it should be. So moisture gets in there and, well, corrosion happens. So let's see how we can get this off. Also stuff like this. Why? Why is rain getting trapped right here? It's just stupid. Well, here we have our connectors, and I can already see that the insulation is coming off, so that's not a good sign. But on the other hand, this is quite a dry place. Yeah, as you can see, that's not good. I don't see any corrosion. Well, to be honest, I don't see any troubling signs of corrosion, but I'm going to blast them anyway. Oh, I should put on gloves. This stuff is really bad for your skin. Yeah, I did remove my gloves because I needed to give the dog his medicine. So, yeah, poor old doggy. We almost had to say goodbye to him. But luckily the operation went well and he's recovering. It is an old dog. It's a Bordeaux dog, but it's already 10.5 years old. So quite old for a breed like that. But to be honest, I'm happy that he's still around. Oh, by the way, this is just a dummy plug. It's probably for, well, there's not even pins right here. Probably for another engine or something like that. So it has soaked in a little bit. So now we can clean off the excess of this stuff. Don't go too rough because you don't want to bend those pins, of course. So just be sure that it's all on there. Normally I would wrap this in new tape, but I don't have any electrical tape here right now. So whenever this car comes back in, I will wrap it then. Now of course we can put back the cover. This thing needs to go into the bracket, so what I did was of course not do that, so just like that. As you can see, it's definitely not a watertight cover. It's close enough to the exhaust, so it's getting a lot of heat. I would almost forget to put back this one. So now all left to do is put back the terminal, and hopefully we don't burn the car down or make it worse. Well, we have a good start. We have only one fault, and that's in the audio system, so we have a look at that, but the other systems are all clean. So let me see what that audio... It has probably nothing to do with what we did. Well, it says that it's the left speaker is missing, or connection with the left speaker. I don't know for sure if we had that code before or not, but I doubt it has something to do with what we did. And I did have a listen to the radio, and I don't think there is anything wrong. Yeah, maybe with the tweeter and the door. That's maybe a possibility. So I will clean it, and I will do the test again. By clean it, of course, I mean wipe the error code. Well, it does pass now, so I do not know exactly what happened, but that's something we of course need to monitor for the future. But I do think we have done good for now, and what I do is I will give back the car to the owner, let him drive for well, a week, 2 weeks, and check again if there are any strange codes. But it looks promising right now. So we cleaned up all the connectors, and as you've seen, the error codes did disappear except for one, but that one also disappeared, so I do think it was a fluke. But I will keep an eye on that one. It is not that important, of course, that the left speaker isn't working, but if it is on the car, I like to have it working. So I do have good hope. To be honest, when I removed the connectors and stuff like that, it wasn't that corroded. Of course, there was a little bit of oxidation, but not that green stuff that you have on some occasions. I do think if there was really a problem with it, it was the fuses. The fuses were really tight in there, and well, as you can see, they're pretty corroded. Some of them really were stuck in there, so it looks almost like it welded together, and that's definitely not a good sign. And because that blackish stuff is on there, it's probably gotten quite hot. Those were the baddest things I could find in the fuse box. Other than that, of course, the plug on the ECU, the backing came off. It is not a big deal in this case because of the location of the ECU, but I'd rather not have it there. So what I'm going to do, I did not have any good electrical tape to fix that. I will do that some other time. So yeah, can you do this by yourself? Absolutely. Of course, if your ECU/ECM, your computer, is bad, this is not going to fix it. But because it is a real common issue, you definitely should try it. Well, that's it for today's video. Hopefully you enjoyed it or at least learned something from it. And if you did, please give it a like. If you want to follow me around, you know what to do, and I will see you next time. Bye.